It's 8:39 at 55 KRCD Talk Station. Brian Thomas here. We are heading in fast toward an election this November, and in the process of moving toward an election, we need to make informed decisions. Enjoy having candidates on the program, and we've got one on today. Meet the Candidate Day here. Zach Haines is running for State Board of Education. Welcome to the program, Zach. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Great to be with you, Brian.
Hey, you happen to be a neighbor of mine, too. I understand you live in Sims Township?
I do live in Sims Township, yeah.
Now, tell me about yourself and tell me why you want to run for the Ohio State Board of Education, and then we're going to get into some of your platform and what you will do or what you would do if elected. So what's the motivating factor for Zach Haines, family man, to want to take this role on?
Brian, like so many of your listeners that have children at home, I've got a 2-year-old son, Preston, and every night, I tuck him into his crib, I give him his blankie, I give him a stuffed teddy bear and kiss him on the forehead. And then when I turn the lights off and I close the door to his room, Brian, I hope and I pray that one day he's going to have the same opportunities that I did growing up, that we did. And I think in large part, his capacity for achievement is really predicated on receiving a quality education. And it's the kind of education that he deserves, that all of Ohio's children deserve, and I'm running to make sure that happens.
And I can certainly understand, the idea of having children and that being a big concern for you. I've been through it myself, although mine are now in college. I worry about their education, I think, now while they're in college more than I did in school. But I didn't have really as much a concern with the public school education because, we saw the materials. We knew what they were being trained and taught in. It was akin to what my wife and I experienced when we went through public education. We both did. So I had some comfort level, not only with the teachers, but with the curriculum. Now we are facing a wholly different curriculum in the form of Common Core. What's Zach Haines, candidate for State Board of Education, think about Common Core, and also Zach Haines, father of 2-year-old son?
Yeah, I am first and foremost opposed to Common Core, and I support the current efforts in the Ohio legislature to repeal it. And I'll make it real simple. I think when it comes to education, a federalized, top-down, one-size-fits-all approach does not work. I'm not opposed to standards, but I believe that education policy should, by and large, be left up to the states. Only Ohioans know what's best for Ohio's classrooms.
Flexibility.
I'll tell you a really simple solution, and I want to make sure that we don't get away from this. Competitive federalism. We want states to have different standards.
Yes.
So we can test what works and what doesn't, and that's how you make things better, competition.
Yeah, you can look out into the world. I mean, those who do not study history, destined to make repeat the mistakes of the past. But if you study history, also you can duplicate the successes, and that's the point of the republic. I'm glad you brought that up because that's the springboard from flexibility. You want flexibility because it allows you to adjust and move and bob and weave on the fly when you encounter hurdles and bumps and failure.
That's absolutely right. And the second part of your question there, my background, I'm a small business owner and an entrepreneur. My passion is education, but I want to take my unique perspective that, believe me, is sorely needed on that 19-member board in Columbus, and I want to look at how we can better manage budgets. I want to use my skills to build coalitions, to come up with solutions to what people think are complex problems, which are probably simple. One of my mentors, John Wooden, famous UCLA basketball coach, if you read any of his stuff, he had a quote that said, "Never mistake activity for productivity." And I think a lot of the stuff we're doing it because we've always done it that way. And we cannot accept the status quo. I want to get up there, put some business eyes on it, but I want to make this very, very clear. Every decision I make, I'm going to search my heart of hearts and ask myself one question. Does this put the children first? Not the teachers' unions, not some special interests. Does this improve things for our children and their future? And that's why I think I could bring something really special to this.
All right, and I have to ask you in connection with the concept of accountability. I was looking at your 3A's for Better Schools materials, and you are in favor of some form of measurable results to get teachers, who are excelling, credit for excelling, and holding into account teachers that are failing, and maybe even, oh my gosh, the concept of firing teachers who are incompetent.
How about that?
I know. The problem I think that a lot of people face in the teaching profession, and I do have a large measure of sympathy or empathy for them, it's they are not parents, and they are handed children who are completely without any parental authority at home, or parents who are not there, or parents who just don't care. How do you improve a school that has a whole bunch of kids in it that are there to do nothing more than throw a monkey wrench into the education process?
Yeah. Well, yeah, let me be clear. I think above all, schools and teachers must be held accountable to the communities, parents, and students that they serve. I think we have some amazing teachers. And if we have, the Michael Jordan or LeBron James of teachers, why not incentivize them a little bit more, encourage them more so they don't end up leaving the profession? But if we have teachers that chose the wrong, career path that are failing our students, then we absolutely have a responsibility, to the taxpayer, to our children, first and foremost, to hold these teachers accountable. It's not easy, but the fact remains, in any other profession, any other job, the people that excel at that trade get paid a little bit more, and the people that should not be there are let go. And I think it's going to be a process. It's going to involve a conversation with teachers and administrators and community leaders and parents and everybody at the table. But I have a great empathy and respect for what teachers do. I want to actually encourage that and make sure that we don't lose our teachers to other professions. And regarding parents and community involvement, you are 100% correct. The greatest factor, in my view, in a child's educational success and success in general is strong parental involvement. And this is not something, Brian, that you can legislate.
Nope.
It's not something that the government needs to get into the households and say, this is what a good parent looks like, and this isn't. But what I like to do is I want to encourage and enable every school, and I think every school has an obligation to do everything it can to reach out to parents in the community to increase engagement. And I like to develop a database of some of the best practices that other school districts have been doing, so we can really try our hardest to get parents involved. And it's not something that's the role of government, but it absolutely is probably the number one factor in a student's success, and I acknowledge that.
All right, talking with Zach Haines. He's running for State Board of Education on the Republican ticket, correct, Zach?
Yeah. Here's the thing, Brian. I got in this race late, and I'm seeking to replace the incumbent and the current president of the State Board of Education, Debbie Terhart, who's a friend of mine. But by nature of this race, you file late. My district is all of Hamilton County, all of Warren County, and a small portion of Butler County, the Middletown precincts. And though I am a registered Republican, I'm the only Republican, only conservative running. This race is nonpartisan, like judges. So I will not have, the party designation, the R, next to my name on the ballot. So this position is so critical. And my hope is that people, don't just skip it over, and they do the research and due diligence and make sure they put a lot of thought into this race, because it really affects the education that our children are getting.
Zach Haines, been a pleasure talking to you. I note also that you're a fan of school choice, which I am a huge fan of. I think if a set amount of tax dollars basically follows the child around, I mean, it's only by virtue of some crapshoot of life that child was born in this school district as opposed to that one. There could be wide disparities between the opportunities that are there at those school districts. Let the money follow the child. Let the child decide. Market forces will fix a lot of the problems that we're facing, Zach.
I agree 100%. I also support homeschooling and parochial schools. I think parents need to have all the choices they can when it comes to education for their children.
Zach Haines, sounds like you got it all right to me. I'm impressed, and I like your ideas and thoughts, and I look forward to seeing how things shake out in November. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
Great, Brian. If anyone wants to learn more, my website is Haines for Ohio, Haines, for Ohio.com. Thanks for your time.
Take care, my friend. Zach Haines. It's 848, 55 KRC, the talk station. USA Insulation. You know what their number is? 381-FOAM. 381-FOAM. All homeowners, all of them, all of you out there, unless you had your home professionally insulated by USA Insulation, everybody can benefit from one of the foams that USA has. And I always say, I have a foam for every need. Older homeowners, mid-70s before, you need the USA Insulation's premium foam for the exterior walls of your house. It will guarantee you, savings up to 50% each and every month. My buddy Jeff emailed me. North of $300, I think it was $330 per month. Winter heating bill now $177. He saved all year. He told me he had similar savings with the air conditioning bill. And now they have foams that go elsewhere. Now, underneath floors that are cold in the winter, damp, dirty crawl spaces, attic spaces, pole barns, yes. Spray-on foams, VOC-free, no volatile organic compounds made of a soybean base. It's not edible. Nothing can live in it. It stops moisture. It's moisture-resistant, and it stops airflow. Won't allow air through it, unlike fiberglass. So you can increase the air quality of your home by 50% or more with spray-on foam. So think about any area that's got fiberglass or could use it. This is a higher R value. Works better. Call USA about it. It's fantastic stuff. 381-FOAM, 381-3626. You can find it online at usainsulation.net.